Friends, I want to share with you now my views on the subject astrology. In other words, this is just an introduction to astrology, and this is part one of my talk on the subject astrology. And in this part one, we will mainly concentrate on the astronomical part of the planets. And before trying to understand what is astrology, we must be very clear in our mind that astrology is not an art of fortune telling as understood by most of us. On the other hand, it is as much an exact science as physics or mathematics. In fact, it is a divine science developed by our sages after observing the movements of planets and their effects on human beings through their divine eyes, the Divya Drishti with spiritual powers. And astrology is a branch of Veda, with the aid of which it is possible to forecast all the past and future events by considering the position of Lagna and planets at the time of birth. And astrology has three divisions, broad divisions, namely the Siddhanta, Samhita, and Hora. Siddhanta deals with the astronomical side of the science, Samhita deals with the world events, and Hora deals with the horoscopes of human beings. Some of the important sages who propagated this science for the benefit of humanity are Brahmitra, Vasistha, Vyasa, Jayadeva, Bhaskaracharya, Aryabhatta, Parashara, Kalidasa, Kashyapa, etc., etc. And of course, Professor B.B. Raman and a few others. They are the greatest exponents of Hindu astrology in modern times. Although some people who do not have competent knowledge on the subject criticize astrology as a great bluff, yet everybody seeks its assistance, particularly when he or she is in distress. And astrology is a science of tendencies, and it can indicate in a very calculated manner what will happen in future, and is certainly not a joke or fun. It's a wide ocean, and even after spending our entire lifetime, what one can learn is only a little and far from perfectness. But a serious attention to the subject will undoubtedly make us able to draw and read the birth chart of the individuals with some accuracy. And the limit of accuracy again also depends on one's intelligence, insight, initiative, capacity, sincerity, and lastly, the grace of God. See, astrology being a divine science, we must study this with a pure mind and faith, clean minded, well trained, calculations of the positions of stars, planets, etc. We should have good training and we should be well versed with the astrological works. So now let us proceed to the subject straight. To understand the subject, one should understand some basic facts about our solar system. So first, we should know what is meant by zodiac. Zodiac is a broad belt in the heavens, extending about 90 degrees on each side of the elliptic path. Elliptic is the path of the sun passing exactly through the center of the zodiac, the Bachakra, what we call in Sanskrit. And it is an imaginary circle of 360 degrees, having effect, having influence on the living beings on the earth. So this is again divided into 12 equal parts of 30 degrees. So each such part represents a sign, or in other words, a rasi. And of course, I will use only the Sanskrit word so that it becomes, and not the English word, so that it becomes very easy for you to follow the subject. So the 12 rasis, they are Mesha, Rishabha, Mithuna, Kataka, Simha, Kanya, Tula, Vrishtika, Dhanar Rasi, Makara, Kumbha, and Meena. So the Bachakra itself, it revolves on its axis once a day from east to west. And the zodiac, we in the zodiac we have 12 rasis of 30 degrees each. So each rasi, it occupies an area of 30 degrees. And further, this rasi is again marked by the entire zodiac again is marked by 27 constellations or the nakshatras of 13 degree 20 minutes each. Each Rasi represents 30 degrees, while a star or nakshatra represents a stretch of 13 degrees and 20 minutes. And each such star is divided again into four padas or the four quarters, and the longitudinal span of each such quarter or pada is 3 degrees and 20 minutes. Sun is just an average star among billions and billions of stars. Stars exist in groups called the galaxies, and about 10 to the power of 11, that is more than 100 billion galaxies are known to us. And each galaxy has more number of stars than sand grains in the world. Surface temperature of these stars, it varies from 1500 degrees to 50,000 degrees on the Kelvin scale. And they also vary in masses, sizes, and densities. And there are 27 constellations or stars occupying the entire zodiac, and they permanently occupy their places in respective rasis, and they don't change. So they are the 27 stars or nakshatras. They are Ashwini, Bharani, Kritika, Rohini, Mrugasira, Aridra, Punarvasu, Pushyami, Aslesha, Maka, Pubba, Uttara, Hasta, Chitta, Swati, Vishaka, Anuradha, Jyeshta, Moola, Purvashada, Uttarashada, Sravana, Dhanishta, Shatabisha, Purvabhadra, Uttarabhadra, and Revati. And the planets which according to Hindu astrology have most powerful influence on the earth. They are 9 in number, namely the Ravi, Chandra, Mangala, that is Kuja or the Mars, then Buddha, the Mercury, Guru, the Brihaspati or the Jupiter, Shukra, the Venus, Shani, the Saturn, and Rahu and Ketu. Rahu and Ketu, they are the dragon's head and dragon's tail, the shadowy planets or Chayagrahas. Chayagrahas, Rahu and Ketu do not have any physical or celestial bodies like other planets, and they are the shadows of moon crossing the path of the sun. And of the two, where the moon crosses the elliptic path of the sun, the north point is called the Rahu and the corresponding south point. That is exactly 180 degrees away from the Rahu. It is called Ketu. So these are very effective and sensitive points having powerful effect on the earth, on the individuals, especially on the earth. And all planets except Rahu and Ketu, they rotate on their own axis, west to east, and they also revolve. Velocity of each planet diminishes as the distance from Earth increases. Rahu and Ketu, they move in opposite directions always. And the motion of Mercury, the Buddha, it is unsteady. That is, it has double motion because of the solar influence as it is very close to Sun. The Sun and Moon, they always have direct movement, whereas Rahu and Ketu always have backward movement, and others have both direct and retrograde movements. They are also obstructed by certain invisible forces in the zodiac, and they become stationary sometimes. So now let us look at the average motion of various planets. Say Sun, for example, he remains in each Rasi for 1 month, and to go round all the Rasis, he takes 365 days and 6 hours. Moon remains in each Rasi for 2.5 days, and he takes 1 month to go one full round, that is, through all the Rasis. Then Mars, he takes 45 days for crossing one Rasi and 18 months to complete one circle. Mercury, the movement is very unsteady due to solar influence. It has both backward and forward movement. It takes 27 days to move from one Rasi to another and takes roughly 1 year to go one full round. Jupiter, on the other hand, takes 360 days for each Rasi and 12 years to go one full circle. And Venus, he remains in each Rasi for 30 days and he takes 1 year for going round all the 12 Rasis. Saturn remains in each Rasi for 2.5 years and 30 years to complete one full round. Rahu and Ketu, always in the opposite direction, they remain in each Rasi for 18 months and they take 18 years to go one full round. Let us see how far are these planets from the Sun. See, the order in which The planets are arranged from Sun. They are Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So the first planet is Mercury. So it's about 6 crore kilometers from Sun. I have rounded up the two nearest crores. So Venus 11 crore kilometers, Earth 15 crore kilometers, Mars 23 crore kilometers from the Sun, Jupiter 78 crore kilometers from the Sun, and Saturn 143 crore kilometers. And the other planets are further away from the Sun. And let us also compare the diameter of these planets to the diameter of the Sun. So Sun is a mighty planet. Its diameter is 14 lakh kilometers. On the other hand, so the Mercury 49,000 kilometers and Venus 12,000 kilometers, Earth 13,000 kilometers, then Mars. So it is 7,000 kilometers, Jupiter 1 lakh 43 kilometers. So it is a very big planet. And similarly, Saturn, its diameter is 1 lakh 20 kilometers. And other planets, it is very, very small. So every star and every lagna in which an individual is born, coming to the horoscopes, every star, every lagna, every rasi in which he is born, so all these things, they have got the influence. They have got the influence on the individual. And the position of the planets in the horoscope, that matters more than the star, lagna, or rasi. See, some planets, they are natural malefics and some are natural benefics. For example, the Chandra, Kuja Chandra, that is waning. Waning means the Krishna Paksha Chandra. Not waxing, but waning, rising. So Kuja, if he is alone, then Guru and Shukra, these are the natural benefics and natural malefics. That is Ravi, Shani, Rahu, Ketu. So these are the natural malefic planets. Buddha is neutral. So even among the planets, every planet has got friends and enemies. For example, for Ravi, Chandra, Kuja, and Guru, they are the friends. Shukra and Shani are the enemies. Like that. And in the Bachakra, every planet has certain rasis as its Svasthana, Vichasthana, and Nichasthana. For example, for Ravi, Simha Rasi is the Swasthana, Mesha Rasi is the Uchasthana, Tula Rasi is the Nichasthana, and there is also a concept of temporary friend and temporary enemies. So, depending on the number of the house from the Lagna. So, that is the depending on the number of the house in which the planet is situated from starting from Lagna. And different combinations of planets also affect the individual in different ways, and there are good combinations of planets resulting in Mahayogas or good yogas, and also bad combinations. And the yogas, very important yogas, they are the Dana Yoga, Daridra Yoga, Chandramangala Yoga, Shubhavesi Yoga, Papavesi Yoga, Gajakesari Yoga, the Lakshmi Yoga, Kalanidhi Yoga, Raja Yoga, Maha Bhagya Yoga, Kusma Yoga, etc., etc. For example, the Raja Yoga, if three or more planets are in the exalted means Uchasthana, in the exalted state, or if they are in their own house, in the horoscope of an individual, or if three or more planets in the horoscope they possess a Digbala, then he is said to have the Raja Yoga. And even the houses in the horoscope, different houses also, indicate different characteristics. For example, the first house means the Lagna. So it indicates the general well-being. Second, money matters. Third house, interests and studies. The fourth house indicates the domestic environment and the private life. Fifth house, it indicates the children and talent. So like this, every house, it also indicates something. So if the planets present in these houses, if they are good planets, the combinations are very good. And if they are in Swasthana or Vichasthana, then it will definitely create good results when they are in those houses. And the planets also, every planet, see, it will not only give influence, give its effect, but it will also have Purna Drishti on the seventh house from where it is. So that is, it will also have its influence on the house in the seventh planet in the seventh house. And in addition to this, this is common to all the planets. Whereas the other planets, for example, Shani, Guru, Kuja, these have got Prabala Drishti in addition to Purna Drishti. Shani, it has Prabala Drishti on the third and tenth houses in the horoscope. Guru, it has Prabala Drishti on third and tenth houses. Guru, Prabala Drishti on fifth and ninth houses. Kuja, again on fourth and eighth houses, like that. And every planet again, he will, I mean, definitely create certain good things for the people like this. For example, Ravi is the Pitru Karaka, means he is good for the Pitru of the native of that horoscope. So if he is in good position, he will do good things to his Pitru. Chandra, Matrukaraka, Kuja, Matrukaraka, Buddha, Matikaraka, that is mind. He takes care of the mind. Guru, the Santanakaraka, Shukra, Kalatrakaraka, Shani, Aishyakaraka, Rahu, good for the maternal uncle, and Ketu is good for the paternal relatives, etc., etc. So while deciding, these things we will see in the subsequent parts, but while deciding about the future or the characteristics or the events that are likely to happen in respect of a particular individual, we have to, study the effects of the star, the yoga, the rasi, the lagna, the position of the adhipati, the planets in different lagnas, planets in different rasis, number of the house from lagna in which each planet is located, the exact position, that is, number of the house in which the lord of each house is positioned in the chart, etc., etc. It's a very complex subject. So let us try to analyze this in the subsequent part. With this, we shall end part 1, and in subsequent parts, we shall try to know more details about all these things. So thank you very much, friends.